So we're going to be talking about the film Farming While Black. We have a trailer of the documentary to play, and while you watch it, I'd like to invite Lynn, Waymer, a producer with Kontent Films, to join me on stage. Round of applause.
If Black folks and other indigenous people have contributed so much to this regenerative farming movement, why are we not flourishing? Today, 98% of the farmland is controlled by white folks.
It's very challenging to create an alternative existence off of the land when the land itself is deeply commoditized.
We knew it wasn't going to be easy. Historically, it's been really challenging to acquire land. I applied for a bank loan. They hung up on me. I would work every day and come home exhausted, and Jonah would have been out on the land, all day by himself, building and farming. It was hard on our family.
In city after American city tonight, thousands of people have once again taken to the streets.
What happened with George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and so many others is to bring into the forefront race.
My bill would end discrimination within the USDA, protect remaining Black farmers from land loss.
That debt relief has been challenged by white farmers, saying that it's unconstitutional.
White farmers, they're just suing to slow it down. And they're on the wrong side of history on this one.
We can't wait, we can't just sit around. We have to take matters into our own hands. We are uniting as one community and working towards a common vision of Black land sovereignty. We have nothing to lose but our chains. We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have our Soul Fire Farming Immersion, which brings together Black, Indigenous, and other people of color.
We like to think of ourselves as part of a rising generation of Black farmers that is ready to carry on the legacy of the seeds that were braided in our ancestors' hair.
I'm feeling excited about it, to really go somewhere and see what more of a liberated system looks like.
Our generation is realizing that a piece of our culture and a piece of our souls was left behind. And we're now in a position to go back.
We may have historically left the land, but the land never left us. We're of the dirt, all of us, regardless of what color or creed we are, of the dirt.
It's such a great clip. It really is. Lynn, welcome. I'm so glad you could be here. Thank you.
And thank you for having us.
No, we're
really
thrilled.
happy to be here.
Can you tell us about the initial inspiration behind this film?
Okay, the film was conceived and is directed by Mark DeSena, who is a Sundance alum. He is, we call him an OG environmental filmmaker. He's really been to Sundance several times. He read a book, Drawdown. Around the same time, he saw a clip of Leah Penniman, and there was a convergence where the book Drawdown cited regenerative agriculture as one of the major ways of impacting climate change. Around the same time, Mark saw Leah, who was really working at Soulfire in regenerative agriculture. Not only was she working, but she was really building a plan for training other farmers, thus the new generation. He was so intrigued that he wanted to use every skill that he had to make a difference in life. And he saw it as documentary filmmaking.
I love it. I love it.
It is totally independent. It is not funded by any corporate entity, none at all. There are partners who are like-minded and aligned who have contributed, but it has been totally funded only by those who are aligned with this project.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Congratulations on that point alone. That's amazing. Round of applause for Lynn, please, and everything she's done. I do want to say that, you know, this was a film, like so many other documentaries and documentarians I know, that was affected by COVID. And I want you to talk a little bit about that and like sort of the stalling process.
Yes. Let's see. Mark started the film in 2018, 2019, was bringing the story together. And part of that is building trust with your subject. And he saw Leah Penniman, and he really wanted to work with Leah Penniman. Leah was somewhat standoffish. She didn't want to be the forefront of this movement that she truly has been building. And so that took a while to really build that and to come up with a story and to get her on board. So once that happened, the shooting began. He went out with a crew to New York and shot part of it. And then after COVID happened, which kept us all inside, he continued in a real creative way by doing research and setting up interviews online. And then, you know, the miracle worker came, which was Zoom, and all of the capabilities that Zoom had, which then allowed more interaction, more face-to-face. And for those of you who use Zoom often, you know that you can really build a relationship that feels like in person, so you can build that trust. And so that's what happened. We used Zoom. He went out to shoot several times and then began to hire others who were in the area. We used drone footage where we could. We built a crew from a totally BIPOC crew from all over to help, including me. Mark is based in the Bay Area. I'm in Atlanta. There was a segment, in the film from Atlanta, and that's the part that I worked on, and that's what got me into the film. I'm not a farmer. My father did have a garden, but it was the building of the team of people who were really dedicated to this cause as well. In one instance, well, I keep thinking you all have seen the film. You have to see the film.
Please.
There is a snow scene, and Leah is walking across the farm through the snow. So the team went up to shoot and anticipated a beautiful day to really see the farm, and there was tons of snow. So that changed the whole purpose of the shoot. But COVID allowed, I think, a bigger team to come in, and it provided more time so that we could really, you know, build the voices that we needed to really tell this story. That was another point that Mark was really, really insistent on, is to having the right voices at the table or in the room to really tell the story. And I think because of COVID, again, we were able to take time. So we brought onto the team a black female editor, Sandra Christie, who has had deep experience in docs and really gave voice. We had several black females on the team in different areas, but she brought the voice that we needed to reach. And then we also had the luxury of bringing together different groups and doing several screenings, which allowed us to go back and to keep working it so that when we went out, the message was right. So in the film, Leah says that she had one chance and she could not afford to mess up. And we felt the same with the film, even with the title, Farming While Black, which is taken directly from her book.
Incredible book, by the way.
Yes.
Everyone should read it.
Yes. She wrote a book for young, new generations of black farmers that really was a plan for them to begin to learn to farm. And so the question was, do we use the title? Do we not? So we did, and it's really bold. It was bold, but again, we had to get it right.
Yeah, and you did. And I think
Thank you.
Farming While Black the book provides so much cultural relevancy and grounds people in the history of Black and brown folks in this country in a way that no other book ever has. And I understand why Leah had to build trust with Mark.
Yes, she was, she is not simply a farmer. She's more of a movement builder on this global stage that we have. So at one point, I think Mark saw her at COP21 along with Blaine Snipstall, who was also in the film. So these are global leaders in the regenerative agriculture movement that also parallels with environmentalism. And they just were not compromising.
Right.
And then, when you got a documentary filmmaker knocking at your door that you don't know, you are a little cautious.
Absolutely. And I know that you kept showing different parts of the film. Can you talk about the reiteration process and how you sort of changed things?
Oh my goodness, it took a little longer, but we were able to do that because we weren't really rushed. And we were still raising money, too, and that's the reality. We developed various groups of constituencies who we screened the film to. One was, your Black females, because those were the voices in the film. It's Leah Penniman, it's Karen Washington, it's Blaine Snipstall. So initially we thought that was our audience.
Yeah.
We were planning on educating Black America around the injustices that had been done to Black farmers and this new generation of Black farmers that's coming up. So we went to Black America with several screenings, listened to their feedback, came back and reorganized, re-edited, and we went back again. And so that was a layering process to, again, make sure that we were getting the messages right.
And when we spoke to prepare for this conversation, you told me this is a film for everyone. It's not just for Black and brown folks.
Well, that's what we found. Our initial impact plan included basically targeting Black film festivals, Black HBCUs, Black organizations, but we have had so much traction from every type of group. We have had a lot of interest from Ivy League schools, from gardening groups,
nice,
all over the world, really, from small towns to large cities. We are in the community screening stage. We have a very small team, and we are just overrun with requests.
Wow.
So it is for everyone. Everyone can understand the history of our country, how we move forth with hope, how we can become a liberated society, how we become free. And a lot of that has to do with being able to provide for yourself, for your family, for your community, and that begins with food. The other part of it is the land. The history of Black farmers is that the U.S. Department of Agriculture really stole the land from Black farmers. It's documented. We've got clips from representatives of the USDA admitting that. And so when a people's land is taken from them, that's also taking their ability to live. And so part of that is a plan to help people understand the value of land.
Yeah.
how to keep your land. We have so many questions around heirs property, which is a major issue in Black America. The laws are state by state. And so before you know it, in many, many instances, you've got families who have 10, 50 acres of land that the government has seized, not knowing what to do with it.
Right.
So that part of the film really applies to everyone, how to hold on to your land. And it has taken us in different ways. We do reach out to HBCUs, historically Black colleges, but again, we've got lots of state universities who are using the film as part of their curriculum. Right now, the University of South Carolina in Columbia, South Carolina, is using the film in conjunction with their law school to develop a program specifically around heirs property, so that those attorneys, when they graduate, they know the ins and outs of heirs property. And that is one of the unexpected goals that really wasn't a goal.
Sure.
When we started, with our impact plan, which had basically maybe 4 or 5 areas that we wanted to focus on. So that's one of the beauties of learning, again, through COVID, to allow things to happen organically.
Right, those unintended consequences. That turn out so positive.
Yes.
I want to talk a little bit more about the voices in the film. Obviously, Leah, the founder of Soulfire Farm, co-founder of Soulfire Farm, and does such incredible work and is a wonderful speaker and educator. But Karen Washington, can you talk a little bit? Because I've known her for many years too, and she's a force of nature.
Karen is a force of nature and has been the voice and the push behind all of us to keep going regardless. She has overcome herself so many obstacles to farm, not only to farm, but to farm and to also make herself happy. She chose farming as her second career. She didn't have land, but she found a way to get land. And so she was a motivator for me. And I think that's, again, one of the parts of the film that could be for everybody, to see her come up throughout her life, and now to see her and the gifts that she's given this new generation.
Absolutely.
As well as the world, because she's known as a humanitarian. She's gotten several awards just for her ability to give and to be a valuable contributor to society overall through farming.
Right. She's so generous with her time and her voice and her ability to teach and dispel myths. She's a wonderful person.
And she has vision as well. So she's again a force within the film.
Yeah, I love the collaboration that all came together, and I know that was very important to you personally, that it be collaborative, that everyone have their voice, as you said before. Did it always work out that way?
It really did. It really did.
That's beautiful.
And again, I came out of corporate America. I spent 25 years basically as a salesperson, director of distribution with HBO. So I spent most of my life selling other people's vision, selling other people's product, making them a lot of money on commercial products. So this is really the first time that I've seen a collaboration in this way. And I think that it's because we were all aligned with the goal.
Yeah.
And that comes back to building the team from the beginning.
Right.
And
being so intentional, right?
Yes. Intentionality was key. And again, back to the director, Mark, he knew what he wanted. He's a very kind, generous, talented creative. And so his primary goal was to create a tool for the farmers to use to support their work and to support the Black Farmers Act. That was the initial goal.
Yeah.
And, you know, those who were on board with that, we were on board with that.
Sure.
Since then, it has morphed into so much more, but that was the original plan.
It was great. It was a great initial plan, and it has been executed in such a great way. For my final question, Lynn, what do you want this audience to take away from the clip that they saw in the conversation we just had?
Because this audience probably has not seen the film, I would love for you to see the film. We have a website, farmingwhileblackfilm.com. I'd love for you to go onto the website, sign up. We are doing a screening, a general broad consumer screening in March. Through either Eventive or Vimeo, so I'd love to share that with you. The other thing, and when we first started our screenings, it was April, and Cory Booker had just helped us do a screening on Capitol Hill. We did that. We thought that it went unheard because we got no reaction. And after that screening, my message, I had a screening with a group of really young people in their 20s. So my message to them in April was to vote, to go vote. For this group, what I would ask you to do is to really learn the impact of our policies on your life, and to take that into consideration and use your voice to vote, to work with your congressional representatives so that the policies really represent you, what you believe, and how you want to live. Other than that, see the film.
Thank you, Lynn. And I want to thank everyone who was involved in this film, and I want to encourage everyone to read Farming While Black. It's a wonderful book. Please read it and, integrate it into your life.
Call if you can't find it. Call me.
I'm sure you have a lot of copies. Thank you, Lynn. Round of applause.